What's up, Internet Netsians, Internet friends, VCs, founders, and the Entrepreneur Curious? You've made it, and you're here. It's Venture Daily with me, Peter Saddington. What's up, guys? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. A wonderful, Wednesday? Wednesday in February. We're going to be switching up today's show a little bit. We're going to be switching up today's show a little bit. I have just one article that I want to read because it was just so inspiring. And frankly, because this is my show, I can do whatever I want. Da 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 da. So, we're going to be enjoying that. That was a little bit slow there. So today I want to just cover one article, and that's pretty much it for today. And I hope that you guys can sit back and enjoy it, listen, whether you're driving in the car, you're in the commute, whether you're listening on Apple iTunes, you're on Spotify, or you're on Google Podcasts. Just sit back and enjoy the narrative. Enjoy my voice as I serenade you guys with a story today of 3 startup lessons. So I've contextualized this a little bit to the startup and the founder world, or the entrepreneur world, but 3 startup lessons from Conor McGregor and his comeback from his fight in the last week or so. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I'll tell you guys, I'm a huge fan of Conor McGregor. Not because I'm a big UFC fighter fan. I've never been that. But I will say, and some of you guys were actually there, that one of the largest live streams I ever did, I think I had, was it 12,000 people? I think I had over 12,000 people live streaming with me while I was streaming the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight. It was one of the biggest troll streams of all time because everyone was showing up onto the stream because I had Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, UFC fight or boxing fight. And I had all these people show up and they're like, where's the fight? Well, obviously I couldn't be streaming it. I had it streaming in the background and I was giving color commentary to the audience, and people were pretty mad. People were pretty upset with that. But I've been following Conor McGregor for a long time, and he's one of those guys where I've taken a lot of, let's just say, his exuberance for life, his zeal for life, his passion for his work, his passion for the hustle, his passion for the grind, and I just really followed him as an individual and as an influencer because I believe he exactly has the personality and the character traits that are required to be successful. He's a hustler. He doesn't give up. He creates images in his mind of success. He's big on the law of attraction and getting to and finding those opportunities within his world, grasping for those opportunities where he can. He's always striving for the next thing, always going for the next thing. And I just love following people like that because they're worth following. And I also watched him after he lost the fight with Floyd Money Mayweather. After he lost that fight, he kind of went into this spiral where he was smashing windows in buses and punching people at pubs and ripping, breaking people's phones. I remember these things. And then he had the Khabib, I forget the guy's name, but he had another fight where he lost again. And so it seemed like he was kind of going into this dumpster fire of life after the highs and of massive success, and then losing Floyd Money Mayweather's fight, losing another fight, kind of just losing his identity, maybe a midlife crisis of sorts, which I feel like I've had in many ways, and so I can resonate there. Losing your identity, not feeling like you're up to being able to succeed in the way that you were before. And so just watching this downward spiral and then watching his comeback has been amazing. And so I found an article here and I want to read it to you guys. It's about Conor McGregor and his comeback. And I just hope it inspires you. And so if you're out there and you're a founder, you're the Entrepreneur Curious, you're a manager of people, or you're just someone who wants to help others, this might be the article for you. So let's jump right in, guys. That's all we're going to be covering today, and I hope you enjoy it. This past weekend, Conor McGregor made his triumph return to the UFC. He looked in fine form. He really did. He looked in fine form. He looked in fine form, dismantling Donald Cowboy Cerrone, a top-ranked fighter who has more wins and fight finish bonuses than any other fighter ever. In just 40 seconds, he got him done. If referee Herb Dean had not given Cowboy every reasonable chance to defend himself, the fight might have been over in half that time. The outcome was far from guaranteed. Conor's rise to the top of stuff is of legend. The son of a taxi driver in the poor Irish neighborhood of Crumlin in Dublin, 12 years old, he grew up longing to fight his way to fame and fortune. Ireland had never had an MMA champion, and he was literally laughed at when he predicted he would one day be a UFC champion. But no one laughed at him when he knocked out Jose Aldo, who had been undefeated for a decade in a record-breaking 13 seconds and became the undisputed featherweight 145 pounds champion of the world. Then he made history again by going up a weight class and capturing the lightweight, the 155-pound championship. After his historic win, he took to the mic and taunted his haters, said, "I would absolutely apologize to absolutely no one." Conor stepped away from the cage to see what else he could conquer. He started a whiskey distillery, Proper 12. He traded his MMA gloves for boxing gloves and got in the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather in a match that was much as spectacle as substance. Conor dominated early, but Floyd showed the skills that made him one of the greatest of all time by readjusting his strategy and winning by TKO in the 10th round. So, when it comes to Conor McGregor, well, Conor returned to the cage to take on Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov, the undisputed champion. You could see leading up to the fight that Conor was going beyond promotion and becoming a wild man. He attacked a member of Khabib's fight camp by throwing a moving dolly at a coach bus, breaking the window and injuring two other fighters on the card who had nothing to do with him. A member of Conor's entourage yelled racial and religious slurs at Khabib during the fight. The night ended with a WWE-like, but completely real, brawl. Afterward, Conor's life swung from high highs to painful lows. A fan ran up to him asking for a selfie, and Conor snapped and broke the fan's phone. He spent money like crazy and lost money in his MMA promotion. He and longtime partner Dee Devlin had a second child. He was in Forbes' list of highest paid athletes, yet was on many lists of worst sports person of the year. He then hit what many consider the lowest point when he sucker punched a 50-year-old man who turned down a drink at an Irish pub. This is when the author realized that Conor was going through what he calls the tunnel. The tunnel is what many people call a midlife crisis, but it has nothing to do with age and everything to do with your perceived place in the world, kind of like your identity. This is an important stage most men refuse to go through. It's where you feel uncertain, unfocused, and disconnected. It's the stage where you question your purpose in the world. You still have the tools to do well in the world, but your motivation is missing. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. This is when you have to search deep down inside yourself and find a way to listen to that inner voice deep down inside of you to find your new purpose in the world, not just as a warrior, but as a king. Ooh, I like that. I can dig that. Conor had ascended to one of the greatest warriors in the world. But when you've already reached the top, you sometimes want to chase the feeling of reaching that top again. But you can't do that. It's a formula for failure. With no clear goal, he began to sedate himself. He had so much drive as a warrior, but that warrior's edge was no longer serving him. I hoped at the time that Conor would get the help that he needed to get out of the tunnel and find a new outlook on life. Maybe it was time for him to step away from the fighting and focus on being a businessman, father, and maybe even just husband. When the UFC announced that Conor would return against Donald Cerrone, I, like many others, underestimated him. As Marvin Hagler famously said, it's hard to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go running when you're sleeping in silk sheets. I wondered if Conor should have stuck to selling drinks and promoting other fighters. I didn't see how he could get back the hunger that once propelled him to the top of the fighting game. This last weekend, I got my answer. Leading up to the fight, Conor was unusually differential to Cowboy. Instead of being a wide-eyed, trash-talking maniac, McGregor praised Cowboy for being a family man and a game competitor. He promised he was abstaining from alcohol in preparation for the fight. He wasn't fighting like a warrior. He was showing signs he had put his demons behind him and was fighting like a king. After his quick win, McGregor not only embraced Cerrone, but went over to Cerrone's grandmother and the two shared a warm hug. That's when I saw Tony Robbins in Conor's corner, and it all came together. You see, Tony Robbins had been working with Conor to help him rediscover himself. Conor was able to listen to the inner voice. He listened to the quiet doubts inside of him, and to do what he knew he needed to do. He said he was not just back to who he was, but better than who he was. Conor was happier with himself than he'd been in a long time. He had come full circle. I believe Tony showed Conor what it is he needs to be if he wants to win, if he can't win with the old version himself. He can't win fights with the old strategy as he did before. He has to become a different version of Conor. He had to become a different human being because his biggest opponent was always himself. I completely agree. Conor McGregor had to be a new creature. He had matured beyond who he was previously, and he now has a new outlook on life. He has a new realization in life. Sometimes, and I've been through this, that sometimes you just need to get punched in the face. You need to get punched in the face by life to reset you. Yeah, you haven't lost the skills, but you've lost confidence. You've lost motivation. You've lost the reason for going on, and you have to reset yourself. These are the moments, and I can tell you guys from my experience, that these are the moments that define a person. Can you overcome? Can you overcome? Can you go beyond? Can you forgive? Can you move on? Can you silence the past? I've talked about this before. So many people that I know are still living in the past. They're letting their past hold their future and present prisoner because they can't get beyond the narratives, the negativity, and the negative self-talk that they have in their minds. Guys, if you're out there and you've been struggling, if you've been holding on to the past, it's time to let it go. It's time to inject a new narrative. There's a reason that happened, and it wasn't to your liking. Totally get it. But guess what? You have to move on. You have to continue forward. And I'm so glad to see Conor McGregor doing that because he's living out the example of how to move on, how to mature as a man, and to continue to come out on top. This is what every entrepreneur, absolutely guys, this is what every entrepreneur needs to understand. If we want to make a comeback, we need to evolve and reinvent ourselves because doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity. So here are my 3 biggest takeaways from watching the McGregor and the Cowboy fight. Number 1, look for a worthy goal to increase your capacity, or a worthy challenger to increase your capacity, or a worthy challenge to increase your capacity. In a big change, Conor honored his opponent from the beginning. He didn't talk trash. He praised him, and afterwards, he showed respect towards Cerrone and his whole family. That's the mindset of a king, to know that even when you've beaten your opponent, it doesn't mean he's less than you. It's because he's made you strong. Number 2, use everything you have to win the fight. McGregor used a shoulder strike that may have looked insignificant at first, but the move completely disrupted Cerrone's game plan. That set him up for the winning blow. Sometimes in business or in life, we want to only have the winning strike, but we don't look at the small moves that make a huge difference. Number 3, you're only as good as the people in your corner. You got to surround yourself with people that support you. McGregor hiring Tony Robbins as his coach gave him a different perspective than just hanging around the yes men or other fighters. Sometimes you need to be around people who will tell you the truth. Even if you're not surrounded by people who will challenge you or expand your capacity, you're going to get into a rut and stop innovating because you'll be the victim of your own hype. This is what I love. This is what I love, guys. This is what I love about teaching my own clients to look back at failures, to look at failures as feedback. because life is always giving us exactly what we need in order to expand and grow. We've seen examples of Connor over and over again in business and in life. Your comeback is just around the corner. All you have to do is learn from your failure. Guys, I hope this was encouraging on this Wednesday, that if you have been through some failure, if you have been through some tough times, it's okay. You can come back like a king, just like Conor McGregor. Surround yourself with people that support you. Surround yourself with people that challenge you, challenge your ideas. One of the great things about the programs that I'm doing here is it forces me. What I'm doing requires me to engage with new people, fresh minds, venture capitalists, founders, the entrepreneurs, and people that just need coaching and training. And so constantly in all the things that I'm doing, whether I'm flying out to coach a company or coach a startup, coach people, train people in Agile and Scrum and startup methodologies, I'm engaging with the world. I'm meeting new people. They're challenging my mental models. They're challenging my frameworks. But the venture capitalists and founders that I interview on VC Hunting, they challenge me. They move me in different directions. They open up my mind. This is one thing that we have to constantly do if we constantly want to grow. Surround yourself with great people that challenge yourself. And just like we said in this article as well, find a challenge that's worthy, or a challenger that's worthy. Something that requires a lot of you, something that requires you to change, something that requires you to step outside your boundaries and do things just a little bit different. I promise you, you will continue to grow in life. You'll continue to grow and learn and become a better version of you. Don't let the failures of the past hold you back. They're just the past. They're gone. Don't worry about them, guys. They're just the past. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this news article about Conor McGregor's comeback. Subscribe, smash the like button, guys. Follow me on Twitter's at AgilePeter or on TikTok at VC Hunting. Guys, we're not going to cover any venture deals. We're not going to do a final word of the day. I just want you guys to enjoy today's story of a man who rose and fell and now has come back as a king. Enjoy your day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.